I mostly read public domain books here on Glenn Reads Books to You, and they were written a long time ago, so they're usually racist, or sexist, or bigoted, but in there somewhere is a story, and that's why those stories are famous. Other times, I read works from independent authors, and they're delightfully not racist, but they might have adult language or adult situations, like, making sex. So that's your warning, but I'm sure you're grown up enough to handle it. Don't write to me complaining. Well, I got my Chubbs wipes. I've got my my real tight pants. And what else? Oh, yeah, well, hi. I know, I shouldn't be so angry. At least you're awake. Since we stopped doing the road trip, it's nice to know that you're not just staring out the window in some sort of weird coma-like state. But now we're back here in the mansion. Apparently we gave up on the road trip. I don't know, the bit was old for me. There's a lot of work. I've just been planning for my trip to go see my kid who's going to college in Canada. So this is going to be a pretty boring episode. Not a lot of cool sound effects or any weird bits by any people. Welcome to the Glenn Reads Gothic Books to You podcast. A fun little bit where I pretend to live in a mansion and not just recording in my basement. This is where I read the hottest public domain books and short stories. We're going to continue to read Jane Eyre, an autobiography by Charlotte Brontë. Well, a little bit about the author? I hope so. Took time to steal this Wikipedia. Charlotte Brontë was born April 21st, 1816, and died March 31st, 1855, at the age of 38 from corpse water ingestion. She was an English novelist and poet and was the elder sister of Emily Ann and Branwell Brontë. You want to hear some fun facts I stole from mentalfloss.com? Charlotte Brontë was forced to apologize to her cruel schoolmaster. When Jane Eyre became a success, Reverend Wilson recognized himself in the character of Mr. Brocklehurst and threatened to sue Brontë. Well, what an asshole. She avoided a lawsuit by writing him an apology. Wilson's grandson described it as a sketch, retracting a good deal of what had formerly written about the school in Jane Eyre. She had even given Wilson permission to publish this sketch under her name. Curiously enough, he never did. What? The apology was a sketch, retracting a good deal. Oh, so that he just published her apology. Got it. I don't know what the sketch thing. Fine. Curiously enough, he never did. The apology has since been lost. Grandfather Clock? We got a ways. Jane Eyre was published under a gender-neutral pseudonym. In 1846, Anne, Emily, and Charlotte published a poetry book under the pseudonyms Acton, Ellis, and Currer Bell. They knew that they would be taken more seriously if the public believed that the authors were men. Charlotte also published Jane Eyre under the name Currer Bell. When it became a bestseller, the literary world became consumed with learning more about the mysterious Bell brothers. Oh my God. Look, I got to pack for this trip. I got stuff to do. I just got to read this thing, get it out of the way, and then I got to move on because I got to go see my kid. This clock is going to take forever to go off. Even the publisher of Jane Eyre didn't know its author was a woman. Having corresponded by letter, Bronte's publisher, Smith, Elder & Company, had no idea that Currer Bell was a woman. In 1848, circumstances forced Charlotte and Anne to go to London and meet their editors in person. Quote, neither Mr. Smith or Mr. Williams knew we were coming. They had never seen us. They did not know whether we were men or women. We had always been written to us as men. It isn't Mr. Smith, I said, looking up through my spectacles at a tall young man. It is. Then I put my own letter into his hand, directed to Currer Bell. Okay, well, whatever. Let's move on and plow through this story. All right, come on, hurry up, sit down. I got a lot of stuff to do. This is business. We got to get through this stuff. Also, I'm under a lot of stress. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world today. A lot of stuff that's going on because of the American president, which is fucking horrifying. And I'm just under a lot of tension. So I want to get this crap out of the way. I want to see my kid. I want to get home. And then I just want to sit in a bathtub for like 4 weeks. Okay, chapter 13. Mr. Rochester, it seems, by the surgeon's orders, went to bed early that night, nor did he rise soon the next morning. When he did come down, it was to attend to business. His agent and some of his tenants were arrived and waiting to speak with him. Adele and I had now to vacate the library. It would be an early requisition as a reception room for callers. A fire was lit in an apartment upstairs, and there I carried our books and arranged it for the future schoolroom. I discerned in the course of the morning that Thornfield Hall was a changed place, no longer silent as a church. It echoed every hour or two to a knock at the door, or a clang at the bell. Steps, too, are often traversed the hall. The new voices spoke in different keys below. A rill from the outer world was flowing through it. It had a master, for my part. I liked it better. Like I said in the last episode, the punctuation on this long paragraph is insane. I'm not going to read it off to you, but it's wild. Adele was not easy to teach that day. She could not apply. She kept running to the door and looking over the banisters to see if she could get a glimpse of Mr. Rochester, and then she coined pretext to go downstairs, in order, as I shrewdly suspected, to visit the library where I knew she was not wanted. Then, when I got a little angry and made her sit still, she continued to talk incessantly of her I can't speak French. Monsieur Edward Fairfax de Rochester, and as she dubbed him, I had not before heard his premonitions, and to conjecture what the presents... Oh, God, this is insane. The punctuation's insane. What presents that he had brought for her, for it appears to have intimidated the night before, and that when his luggage came from Millicote, there could be found amongst it a little box, in whose contents she had an interest. Et sila doit signifier, said she, quil y ara la dedans en cadu pour moi et putere pour vos aussi, mademoiselle. Monsieur parle de voix. Il m'a demande le nom de ma gouvernementy, whatever. It's as if I'm frustrated at how I can't pronounce it. It's French. I literally have no idea what I'm saying, and I'm clearly not saying it right. Et si elle était pas une petite personne, Aziz mince et un pupil, j'ai dit quoi car c'est vrai, n'est-ce pas, mademoiselle? And my pupil dined as usual in Miss Fairfax's parlor. The afternoon was wild and snowy, and we passed in the schoolroom. At dark, I allowed Adele to put away books and work, and to run downstairs. For the comparative silence below, and from the cessation of appeals to the doorbell, I conjectured that Mr. Rochester was now at liberty. Left alone, I walked to the window, but nothing was to be seen thence. Burp, burp. Twilight and snowflakes together thickened the air, and hid the very shrubs. I say the very shrubs on the lawn. And I let down the curtain and went back to the fireside. In the clear embers I was tracing a view, not unlike a picture I remember to have seen of the castle Heidelberg on the Rhine when Miss Fairfax came in, breaking up by her entrance the fiery mosaic I had been piecing together, and scattering, too, some heavy unwelcome thoughts that were beginning to throng on my solitude. Mr. Rochester would be glad if you and your pupil would take tea with him in the drawing-room this evening, said she. He has been so much engaged all day that he could not ask to see you before. When is his tea time? I inquired. Oh, it's 6 o'clock. Oh, he keeps early hours in the country. You had better change your frock now. I will go with you and fasten it. Here's a candle. Is it necessary to change my frock? Oh, yes, you had better. I always dress for the evening when Mr. Rochester is here. The additional ceremony seemed somewhat stately. However, I repaired to my room, and with Miss Fairfax's aid, I replaced my black stuff dress by one of the black silk, the best and the only additional one I had, except for the one light gray, which in my Lowood notions of the toilette, I thought too fine to be worn, except on first-rate occasions. "You want a brooch," said Mrs. Fairfax. "I had a single little pearl ornament which Miss Temple gave me as a parting keepsake. I put it on, and then we went downstairs. Unused as I was to strangers, it was rather a trial to appear thus formally summoned by Mr. Rochester's presence, and I let Miss Fairfax precede me into the dining room, and kept under shade as we crossed that apartment, and passing the arch, whose curtain was now dropped, entered the elegant recess beyond. 2 wax candles stood lighted on the table, and 2 on the mantelpiece. Basking in the light of the heat of the superb fire, lay Pilot. Adele knelt near him. Half reclined on a couch appeared Mr. Rochester, whose foot supported by the cushion. He was looking at Adele and the dog, and the fire shone full on his face. And I knew my traveler with his broad and jetty eyebrows, his square forehead. What's with the foreheads and the noses? That's all she ever talks about. That's all she ever looks at. Made squarer by the horizontal sweep of his black hair, I recognized his decisive nose, again, foreheads and noses, more remarkable for the character than beauty. His full nostrils, denoting, I thought, Collier? What's Collier? Cola. Okay, a medieval sentence in medicine. It's one of the 4 bodily humors identified with the bile and believed to be associated with a peevish and inescapable temperament. Okay, fine. His grim mouth, chin and jaw, yes, all 3 were very grim. And make no mistake, his shape, now divested of cloak, perceived harmonized in the squareness with his physiognomy. I suppose it was good figure in the athletic sense of the term, broad-chested and thin-flanked, though neither tall nor graceful. The way she describes people is the most unattractive thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Mr. Rochester must have been aware of the entrance of Mrs. Fairfax and myself, but it appeared he was not in the mood to notice us. For he had never lifted his head, his giant forehead, and his nostrils as we approached. "Here is Miss Eyre, sir," said Miss Fairfax in her quiet way. He bowed, still not taking his eyes from the group of the dog and the child. "Let Miss Eyre be seated," said he, and there was something in the forced, stiff bow, in the impatient yet formal tone, which seemed further to express, what the deuce is it to me whether Miss Eyre be here or not? At this moment I am not disposed to accost her." I sat down quite disembarrassed? Being embarrassed is one thing. Being disembarrassed means you're not embarrassed. Free oneself of a burden or nuisance. Okay. All right. So she freed herself of a nuisance. She sat down. A recognition of finished politeness would probably have confused me. I could not have returned or repaid it by answering grace and elegance on my part. But harsh caprice lay to me under no obligation. On the contrary, a decent quiescence under the freak of manner gave me the advantage. Besides, the eccentricity of the proceeding was piquant. Oh, God, I'm not looking all this shit up. I felt interested to see how he would go on. He went on as a statue would. That is, he neither spoke nor moved. Yeah, we get what a statue is. Mrs. Fairfax seemed to think it was necessary that someone should be amiable, and she began to talk, kindly as usual, and as usual, rather trite. She condoled with him on the pressure of business he had all day, on the annoyance it must have been for him with that painful sprain, and then she commended his patience and his perseverance in going through with it. "Madam, I would like some tea," was the sole rejoinder she got. She hastened to ring the bell, and when the tray came, she proceeded to arrange the cups, spoons, etc. There's that cool ampersand C for etc. with arduous celerity. I and Adele went to the table, but the master did not leave his couch. "Will you hand Mr. Rochester's cup?" said Mrs. Fairfax to me. "Adele might perhaps spill it." I did as she requested, and as he took the cup from my hand, Adele, thinking the moment propitious for making a request in my favor, cried out, "N'est ce pas, monsieur? Quil y a un cadeau pour mademoiselle Eyre dans votre petit coffre?" Who talks of cadeaux? he said gruffly. "Did you expect a present, Miss Eyre? Are you fond of presents?" And he searched my face with his eyes. That I saw were dark, irate, and piercing. "Well, I hardly know, sir. I have little experience of them. They are generally thought pleasant things." "Generally thought? But what do you think?" "Well, I should be obliged to take some time, sir, before I could give you an answer worthy of your acceptance. As a present, many has faces to it. Is it not? And one should consider all before pronouncing an opinion as to its nature. Miss Eyre, are you not so unsophisticated as Adele? She demands a cadeau clamorously to the moment she sees me. You beat about the bush." "That's because I have less confidence in my desserts than Adele has. She can prefer the claim of old acquaintance and the right to of custom, for she says you have always been in the habit of giving her playthings. But if I had made out a case, I should be puzzled, since I am a stranger and have done nothing to entitle me to an acknowledgment." Oh, don't fall back on over modesty. I have examined Adele, and I find you have taken great pains with her. She is not bright. She has no talents. Oh, so she's just this dumb kid. Yet in short time she has made much improvement. Sir, you have now given me my cadeau. I am obliged to you, as is the meed of teachers most covet, praise of their pupils' progress. Humph, said Mr. Rochester, and he took his tea in silence. Come to the fire, said the master, when the tray was taken away, and Mrs. Fairfax had settled into a corner with her knitting, while Adele was leading me by the hand round the room, showing me the beautiful books and ornaments on the consoles and the chiffoniers. We obeyed, as in duty bound. Adele wanted to take a seat on my knee, but she was ordered to amuse herself with Pilot. "You have been resident in my house 3 months?" "Yes, sir. And you come from Lowood School in blank shire." I hate the blank thing. The long M dashes. Just make up a fake town name. Why do you got to do this weird thing? "Ah, a charitable concern. How long were you there?" 8 years. 8 years. Oh, you must be tenacious of life. I have thought half the time such a place would have done up my constitution. Yeah. No wonder you've rather the look of another world. I marveled where you got that sort of face when you came on me in Hay Lane last night. I thought unaccountably of fairy tales. It had half a mind to demand whether you had bewitched my horse. I'm not sure yet. Who are your parents?" "I have none." "Oh, nor ever had, I suppose. Do you remember them?" "No." "I thought not. And so you were waiting for your people when you sat on that stile?" "For whom, sir?" "For the men in green." "Oh, it was a proper moonlight evening for them. Did I break through one of your rings that you spread that damned ice on the causeway?" And I shook my head. The men in green all forsook England 100 years ago, and I, speaking as seriously as he had done, had not even in Hay Lane or the fields about it could you find a trace of them. I don't think either summer or harvest or winter moon will ever shine on their revels more. Mrs. Fairfax had dropped her knitting, and with raised eyebrows seemed wondering at what sort of talk this was. "Well," presumed Mr. Rochester, "if you disown parents, you must have some sort of kinfolk, uncles and aunts." "No, none that I ever saw." "And your home?" "Well, I have none." "Where do your brothers and sisters live?" "I have no brothers and sisters." "Well, who recommended you to come here?" "I advertised," and Miss Fairfax answered my advertisement. "Yes," said the good lady, who now knew what ground we were upon, "and I am daily thankful for the choice Providence led me to make. Miss Eyre has been an invaluable companion to me, and a kind of careful teacher to Adele." "Well, don't trouble yourself to give her a character," returned Mr. Rochester. "Eulogisms will not bias me. I shall judge for myself. She began by felling my horse." "Sir," said Mrs. Fairfax, "I have to thank her for this sprain." The widow looked bewildered. "Miss Eyre, have you ever lived in a town?" "No, sir." "Have you seen such society, sorry." Why did I say mockery? No idea. It's kind of just what I'm doing through this whole book. "None but the pupils and the teachers of Lowood, and now the inmates of Thornfield." "Well, have you read much?" "Well, only such books as come in my way, and they have not been numerous or very learned." Why, you've lived a life of a nun. Well, no doubt you are well drilled in religious forms. Brocklehurst, who I understand directs Lowood, is a parson. Is he not? Yea, sir. And you girls probably worshipped him as a convent full of religiouses who would worship their director. Oh, no. Oh, you are very cool. No? What? A novice not worship her priest? That sounds blasphemous. Well, that seems like as good a place as any to take a break. Why don't we get out of the basement, huh? Yeah, we're back home again. You're familiar with the basement that I'm trying to build to make it real cool for teens. Why don't we go down to the basement and hang out and just kind of chill out for a while, maybe get high, maybe listen to some, some hip music, and learn about the latest upcoming book from Penguin Random House. Oh, there you are. Why don't you come take a seat here in this one chair underneath that naked light bulb while I stand here underneath this naked light bulb and play this guitar for you. We've done this all before. Look, I got a lot of stuff to do. I got to pack, and I got to go travel. I don't have time for this crap. So just sit there while I tell you about the Bright Lights for the West End Nannies by Pam Weaver. Learn a little about that. Sure. Will the bright lights of London turn out to be all they promised? Verb. It's 1964, and fun-loving Rita has her dream job, working as a nanny for a huge pop star and his family. Oh, at first it seems like great fun. The house is always full of glamorous people and parties, but soon she begins to worry for the children, who are neglected and crave stability. As if this wasn't enough to contend with, her employer, Cameron Knight, is spending a lot of time in the nursery. Not for his children. Can she keep herself and her charges safe in this chaotic household? An emotional, uplifting saga set in the vibrant, swinging 60s. Perfect for fans of Ginny Bell and Jean Fullerton. Okay, well, there's that. Bright Lights for the West End with Nannies by Pam Weaver. It's an ebook. It's coming out April 9th. Wait, that's tomorrow from when I'm recording this. On Amazon, Apple Books, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Google Play, and Kobo. Where's Walmart? Where's Books A Million? Don't they have their own ebook platforms? I hate everything about this. I'm fussed. I don't have time for this. Let's get back upstairs. Let's finish this chapter. I have to get going. Okay, you finally back? Took you forever to get up from that basement. Sit down. We gotta move. We gotta keep moving. We gotta move. You're very cool. Know what? A novice worship at priest sounds blasphemous. I disliked Mr. Brocklehurst, and I was not alone in that feeling. He was a harsh man, and once pompous and meddling. Sit down. Stop fidgeting. Just listen so we can get this over with. I got stuff to do. He cut off our hair, and for economy's sake, brought us bad needles and thread, which we could hardly sew. Well, that was very false economy, remarked Mrs. Fairfax, who now again caught the drift of the dialogue. And what was the head and front of his offending? What? And what was... Oh, and was that the head and the front of his offending? Whatever, demanded Mr. Rochester. Burp, he starved us when he had the sole superintendence of the provision department before the committee was appointed, and he bored us with long lectures once a week and with evening readings from books of his own inundating, without sudden deaths and judgments, which made us afraid to go to bed. What age were you when you went to Lowood? About 10, and you stayed there 8 years. You are now then 18. I assented. Arithmetic, you see, is useful. Without its aid, I should hardly have been able to guess your age. It is a point difficult to fix where the features of countenance are so much at variance as in your case. And now, what did you learn at Lowood? Can you play? A little. Of course. That was the established answer. Go to the library. I mean, if you please. Excuse my tone of command, as I'm used to say, do this and it's done. I cannot alter my customary habits for this new inmate. Go then! Into your library. Take a candle with you. Leave the door open and sit down at the piano and play a tune. I departed, obeying his directions. "Enough," he called out in a few minutes. "You play a little," in italics, "I see, like any other English schoolgirl, perhaps rather better than some, but not well." And I closed the piano and returned. Mr. Rochester continued. "Adele showed me some sketches this morning, which she said were yours, and I don't know whether they were entirely of your doing. Probably have masterated you." "No, indeed," I interjected. That prick's pride. Well, fetch me your portfolio, if you can vouch for its contents being original, but don't pass your word unless you are certain I can recognize patchwork." What the hell? There's shit's all over piano playing, and it's like, "I don't think you can draw." "Then I will say nothing, and you shall judge for yourself, sir." I brought the portfolio from the library. "Approach the table," said he, and I wheeled it to his couch. Adele and Mrs. Fairfax drew near to see the pictures. "No crowding," said Mr. Rochester. "Take them drawings from my hand, and I will finish with them. But don't push your faces up into mine." He deliberately scrutinized each sketch and painting. 3 he laid aside. The others, when he had examined them, he swept from him. "Take them off to the other table, Miss Fairfax," said he, "and look at them with Adele. You," glancing at me, "resume your seat and answer my questions. I perceive those pictures were done by one hand. Was that hand yours?" "Yes." "And when did you find the time to do them?" "They have taken much time and some thought." "I did them in the last 2 vacations I spent in Lowood, when I had no other occupation." "Where did you get your copies?" "Out of my head." "That a head I see now on your shoulders?" "Yes, sir." "Has it other furniture of the same kind within?" "Has it other furniture of the same kind within?" Okay, whatever. "I should think it may have, I should hope. Better." He spread the pictures before him and again surveyed them alternately. While he is so occupied, I will tell you, reader, talking to us directly now, what they are. At first, I must premise that they are, nothing wonderful. The subjects had, indeed, risen vividly in my mind, and as I saw them with the spiritual eye before I attempted to embody them, they were striking. But my hand would not second my fancy, and in each case it had wrought out but a pale portrait of the thing I had conceived. These pictures were in watercolors. The first represented clouds low and livid, rolling over a swollen sea. All the distance was in ellipse. So, too, was the foreground, or rather, the nearest billows, for there was no land. One gleam of light lifted into relief the half-submerged mast on which sat a cormorant, dark and large, with wings flecked with foam. I guess it's a bird. And its beak, it's a bird, held a gold bracelet set with gems that I had touched with the brilliant tints as my palette could yield, and as a glittering distinctness as my pencil could impart. Sinking below the bird and mast, a drowned corpse glanced through the green water. A fair arm was the only limb clearly visible, whence the bracelet had been washed or torn. Now, the second picture contained the foreground only a dim peak of a hill, with grass and some leaves slanting as if by a breeze, and beyond the above spread an expanse of sky, dark blue as at twilight. Raising into the sky was a woman's shape to the bust, portrayed at tints and dust as soft as I could combine. The dim forehead was crowned, foreheads again, with a star. The lineaments below were seen as though the suffusion of vapor. The eyes shone dark and wild, and the hair streamed shadowy like a beamless cloud torn from a storm by electric travail. On the neck lay a pale reflection like moonlight, and the same faint luster touched the train of the thin clouds from which rode and bowed this vision of the evening star. The third showed the pinnacle of an iceberg, piercing by the polar sky a muster of the northern lights reared as dim lances in the closed face along the horizon, throwing into distance the rose at the foreground, a head, a colossal head, inclined toward the iceberg with the resting of its head, the 2 thin hands joined into the forehead and supporting it, and drew up at the lower features a stable veil, a brow quite bloodless as a white bone, and again with the forehead, and the eye hollow and fixed, the blank of meaning, but for the glimness of the despair were alone visible. Above the temples, amidst the wreath, the turban folds of the black drapery, vague in the character and the consistency of the cloud, gleamed a wing of a white flame, gemmed with sparkles, more lurid tinge. This pale crescent was like the quote-unquote likeness of a kingly crown, that it dimmed as the shape of the nun. Were you happy when you painted these pictures? Asked Mr. Rochester presently. Well, I was absorbed, sir. Yes, I was happy. To paint them, in short, was to enjoy one of the keenest pleasures I have ever known. Well, that's not saying much. Your pleasures, by your own account, have been few, but I dare say you did exist in a kind of artist's dreamland. While you blent and arranged these strange tints, did you sit them long each day? Well, I had nothing else to do because it was my vacation, and I sat at them from morning till noon and from noon till night. The length of the midsummer days favored my inclination to apply. And you felt self-satisfied with the result of your ardent labors? Well, far from it. I was tormented by the contrast between my idea and my handiwork. In each case, I had imagined something which I was quite powerless to realize. Well, not quite. You've secured the shadow of your thought, but no more, probably. You had not enough of the artist's skill and science to give it a full being. Yet, the drawings are, for a schoolgirl, peculiar. As to my thoughts, they are elfish. These eyes and the evening star you must have seen in a dream? Or how could you make them look so clear, and yet not at all brilliant, for the planet above quells their rays? And what meaning is that their solemn depth? And who taught you to paint wind? There's a high gale in that sky, and on the hilltop, where'd you see Latmos? For that is Latmos there, and put the drawings away. What? Scarce tied the strings of the portfolio when, looking at his watch, he said abruptly, It's 9 o'clock. What are you about, Miss Eyre, to let Adele sit up so long? Take her to bed. Adele went to kiss him before quitting the room, and he endured the caress, but scarcely seemed to relish it more than Pilate would have done, nor so much. I wish you all good night now, said he, making a movement of the hand towards the door, in token that he was tired of our company, and wished to dismiss us. Miss Fairfax folded up her knitting, and I took my portfolio. We curtsied to him, received a frigid bow and bow. I want to say bow. I want to say bow really bad. Bow in return, and so withdrew. You said Mr. Rochester was not strikingly peculiar, Miss Fairfax, I observed when I rejoined her in the room after putting Adele to bed. Well, is he? I think so. He's very changeful and abrupt. True. No doubt he may appear so to a stranger, but I am so accustomed to his manner I never think about it. And then, if he has peculiarities of temper, allowance should be made. Why? Well, partly because of his nature, and because none of us can help our nature, and partly because he has painful thoughts, no doubt, to harass him and to make his spirits unequal. What about? Family troubles, for one thing. But he has no family. Burp. Not now, but he has had, or at least relatives. Lost his elder brother a few years since. Ooh, his elder brother? Yes. The present Mr. Rochester has not been very long in possession of the property, only about 9 years. Well, 9 years is a tolerable time. Was he so very fond of his brother as to be still inconsolable for his loss? Oh, I know, perhaps not. Yeah, I believe there were some misunderstandings between them, Mr. Roland Rochester. It was not quite just to Mr. Edward, and perhaps he prejudiced his father against him. The old gentleman was fond of money, and anxious to keep the family estate together. Oh, he did not like to diminish the property by division, and yet was anxious that Mr. Edward should have wealth too, to keep up the consequence of his name. And soon as he was age, some steps were taken that were not quite fair, and made a great deal of mischief. Old Mr. Rochester and Mr. Roland combined to bring Mr. Edward into what he considered a painful position. Now, for the sake of making his fortune, what the precise nature of that position was, I will never clearly know, but his spirit could not brook what he had to suffer in it. He is not, very forgiving. He broke with his family, and now for many years he has led an unsettled kind of life. I don't think he's ever been a resident at Thornfield for a fortnight together since the death of his brother, without a will left him master of the estate. Okay, whatever. And indeed, no wonder he shuns the old place. Why should he shun it? Well, perhaps he thinks It's gloomy. The answer was evasive. I could not have liked something clearer, but Miss Fairfax either could not or would not give me more explicit information of the origin and the nature of Mr. Rochester's trials. She averred that they were a mystery to herself, and that what she knew was chiefly from conjecture. It was evident, indeed, that she wished me to drop the subject, which I did accordingly. Okay, well, we got to hurry up here. That chapter's done. Why don't we go downstairs to the smoking room and then try to plow through that and talk about what we just read? Yep, hurry up. Okay, okay, so sit down, and there's a baboon skull with cigarettes inside it, and if you want to go ahead and have a cigarette. I kind of miss when you were comatose, because then I could just kind of do my, okay, well, white birds, okay, we got that whole bit out of the way. All right, let's get focused here. What happened in this chapter? She met Mr. Rochester, and that's pretty much it. He's kind of a dick. She says that she can play piano, and he's like, prove it. And then she does, and he's like, bullshit. And then he's like, yeah, I heard you can draw. And she's like, yeah. Verp. And so then she goes, show me. And so then she shows him. He's like, pedestrian. And then threw it back at her. And then just goes, everyone leave. And so then everyone left. That's the chapter. Symbolism? I'm sure I could probably look it up, but there's probably somebody that found a lot of symbolism in these chapters. I just kind of find them very straightforward and to the point. This is a story that is going forward chapter by chapter. So now we've learned that Mr. Rochester's an asshole, and if I know anything about old books, because I've been reading them for a few years now, she's going to fall in love with him, and he's going to soften towards her, and that's somehow she's earned his respect, and that's exciting for young kids that are home all the time with their Irish dad and just fantasize about meeting someone and how complicated and weird it'll be. And that's kind of what I think is going to happen here. If I'm wrong, fine, whatever. But, yep, so Mr. Rochester's an asshole, and that's pretty much the chapter. Well, thanks for listening. I gotta go. You're wasting my time. I'll see you next week. Well, it appears you found me in the part of the podcast I hate the most, where I tell you all about the places on the internet where you can find me. You can tell I hate this because of the sound effects making it sound like a stormy night in the drawing room of the damned. Now, are you cool? I like cool people. It's the reason why I got involved in this business to begin with, just to meet cool people, not losers. So if you're cool, feel free to go over to my website, nuzzlehouse.com. Don't bother looking for us on social media because we've given it all up after the election with how evil everyone is from Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. I shut it all down. But you can find us on Blue Sky, nuzzlehouse.bsky.com. I don't know. We got a Christmas album on our website, which we should do. Everyone should do when they get married, make a Christmas album. We got Just Stay in the Curious Mind, where we make paranormal smut, Masterpiece Auditorium review books, and Two Things, One Cup with Elton from Elton Reads a Book a Week. And since I think you might be cool, you can always just email me directly, glenn.nuzzles@gmail.com. But don't email if you're a nerdlinger or a dork. Now, back to business. I can't believe I drank all of them already. There's got to be one left.